Hey guys, StingerBrainDump17. We're almost there. A company is evaluating cloud providers to reduce the cost of its internal IT operations. The company's aging systems are unable to keep up with customer demand. Which of the following cloud models will the company most likely select? And that is the IaaS model. After a security incident, management is meeting with involved employees to document the incident and its aftermath. Which of the best describes this phase of the incident response process? And that is lessons learned. A user needs to send sensitive information to a colleague using PKI, PKI certificates. Which of the following concepts apply when a sender encrypts the message hash with the sender's private key? Select two. Non-repudiation and message integrity. As part of the new BYOD rollout, a security analyst has been asked to find a way to securely store company data on personal devices. Which of the following would best help to accomplish this? That is, implement containerization of company data. A web server which is configured to use TLS with AES GCM 256 and SHA 384-bit and ECDSA recently suffered an information loss breach. Which of the following is most likely the cause? Yeah, it's pretty fucking secure too. That's poor implementation. Okay, I was going to say, there's no way it's not a weak cipher suit. It's definitely not insufficient key bit length. I mean, that's long. And unauthenticated encryption method, yeah, no, it's going to get in. Yeah, poor implementation. It's only possible solution from process elimination on this one. An incident involving a workstation that is potentially infected with a virus has occurred. The workstation may have sent confidential data to an unknown internet server. Which of the following should a security analyst do first? That is A, make a copy of everything in memory on the workstation. That way we can kind of see, what's possibly been done to it before. In case it's a worm that's going to end up deleting everything, we want to make a copy of everything. A vice president at a manufacturing organization is concerned about desktops being connected to the network. Employees need to log onto the desktop's local account to verify that the product is being created within specifications. Otherwise, the desktop should be as isolated as possible. Which of the following is the best way to accomplish this? It is air gap the desktops. Kind of says that earlier about a few other questions in here. But just air gap them. An in-house penetration tester has been asked to evade a new DLP system. The tester plans to exfiltrate data through steganography, which is kind of like showing what stuff, make it look like something else, basically. Discovery of which of the following would help catch the tester in the act. And that is outgoing emails containing unusually large image files. Basically, you're seeing these huge images go out there because they're just using images to send information or pull information back out of where they're extracting it from. A member of the admins group reports being unable to modify the changes file on the server. The permissions on the file are as follows. Permissions user group file, RWX, admins, changes. Based on the output above, which of the following best explains why the user is unable to modify the changes file? And that is an FACL has been added to the permissions for the file. A penetration tester is conducting an assessment of CompTIA.org and runs the following command from a coffee shop while connected to the public internet. See NS lookup query mx CompTIA.org. Server unknown, address, here's the address, CompTIA.org MX reference, yada 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 yada. Which of the following should the penetration tester conclude about the command output? That is 192.168.102.67 is a backup mail server that may be more vulnerable to attack. That's where you see right here, this is pulling it from. Especially when they're pulling it from a coffee shop somewhere. A security analyst is inspecting the results of a recent interval vulnerability scan that was performed against intranet services. The scan reports include the following critical rated vulnerability: title remote command execution vulnerability in web server rating, critical CVSS 10.0, threat actor any remote user of the web server, confidence, certain, recommendation, apply vendor patches. Which of the following actions should the security analyst perform first? That is to apply organizational context to the risk rating. Company A agrees to provide perimeter protection, power, and environmental support with measurable goals for Company B, but will not be responsible for user authentication or patching of operating systems within the perimeter. It's basically doing everything except for the network portion of it. Which of the following is being described? That is the service level agreement. They're agreeing to provide these kind of services. That's it. A company is deploying smartphones for its mobile sales force. These devices are for personal and business use, but are owned by the company. Sales personnel will save the new customer data via a custom application developed by the company. This application will integrate with the contact information stored in the smartphones and will populate new customer records onto it. The customer's application data is encrypted at rest, just like everything else sitting on a drive, it's at rest, and the application's connection to the back office system is considered secure. The Chief Information Security Officer has concerns that customer contact information may be accidentally leaked due to the limited security capabilities of the devices and the planned controls. Which of the following will be most efficient security control to implement to lower the risk? That is, restrict contact information storage data flow so it's only shared with the customer application. The Chief Information Security Officer is asking for ways to protect against zero-day exploits. CISO is concerned that an unrecognized threat could compromise corporate data and result in regulatory fines as well as poor corporate policy. The network is mostly flat with split staff guest wireless functionality. Which of the following equipment must be deployed to guard against unknown threats? That is behavior-based IPS with a communication link to a cloud-based vulnerability threat feed. That's basically you're going to be seeing different changes of behavior because if it's a zero-day attack, you're not knowing what the signature base is, your antivirus are going to block against it. So basically the only thing you're going to see is what are some behavior changes with it. An organization has several production-critical SCADA supervisory systems that cannot follow the normal 30-day patching policy. Which of the following best maximizes the protection of these systems from malicious software? That is, configure a firewall with a deep packet inspection that restricts traffic to the systems. An organization identifies a number of hosts making outbound connections to known malicious IP over TCP/80. The organization wants to identify the data being transmitted and prevent future connections to this IP. Which of the following should the organization do to achieve this outcome? That is, use a protocol analyzer, also known as a sniffer, to reconstruct the data and blacklist IP on the firewall. Legal authorities notify a company that its network has been compromised for the second time in 2 years. Investigation shows that attackers were able to see the same vulnerability and different systems in both attacks. Which of the following would have allowed the security team to use historical information to protect against the second attack? That is lessons learned. They should have learned a lesson. A small company's chief executive officer has asked its chief security officer to improve the company's security posture quickly with regard to targeted attacks. Which of the following should the CSO conduct first? That is, survey threats feeds from services inside the same industry. During routine vulnerability assessment, the following command was successful. Which of the following vulnerabilities is being exploited? That is buffer overflow. Add that extra crap to it, sending all those weird keys. Buffer overflow. Forensic investigation has run into difficulty recovering usable files from the SAN drive. Which of the following SAN features might have caused the problem? That is deduplication. A company offers SaaS, maintaining all customer credentials and authenticating locally. Many large customers have requested the company offer some form of federation with their existing authentication infrastructures. Which of the following would allow customers to manage authentication and authorization from within their existing organizations? And that is to implement SAML to the company's services, may accept assertions from the customer's authentication servers. A software development manager is taking over an existing software development project. The team currently suffers from poor communication due to long delay between requirements, documentation, and feature delivery. This gap is resulting in the above average number of security-related bugs making it into production. Which of the following development methodologies is the team most likely using now? That's waterfall. Following the successful response of a data leakage incident, this team leads facilities to exercise that focuses on continuous improvement of the organization's incident response capabilities. Which of the following activities has the incident team lead executed? That is lessons learned review, preferably over a tabletop. A security analyst is attempting to break into a client's secure network. The analyst was not given prior information about the client except for a block of public IP addresses that are currently in use. After network enumeration, the analyst's next step is to perform what? A gray box penetration test. See, they were given already some information, therefore, but they weren't given everything. So white box would be given everything. Gray box, given some information. Or black box is when we're given nothing. So they had some information, so gray box. A security architect has convened a meeting to discuss the organization's key management policy. The organization has a reliable internal key management system, and some argue that it would be the best to manage the cryptographic keys internally as opposed to using a solution from a third party. The company should use risk-benefits analysis results to make a determination. All right, after a recent internal breach, a company decided to regenerate and reissue all certificates used in the transmission of confidential information. The company places the greatest importance on confidentiality and non-repudiation and decided to generate dual key pairs for each client. Which of the following best describes how the company will use these certificates? All right, it's A. One key will be used for encryption and decryption. The other will be used for digitally sign the data. Just think of our Outlook email for the military. We got those keys right there. One key is for encryption, decryption. The other one, sign shit. The security manager is creating an account management policy for a global organization with sales personnel who must access corporate network resources while traveling all over the world. Which of the following practices is a security manager most likely to enforce with this policy? Select two. That's going to be password complexity and group-based access control. A security administrator learns that PII, which was gathered by the organization, has been found in an open forum. As a result, several C-level executives found their identities were compromised, and they were victims of a recent whaling attack. Which of the following will prevent these problems in the future? Please select two. The answer is implement an email DLP and implement a spam filter. A security engineer is configuring a wireless network with EAP-TLS. Which of the following activities is a requirement for this configuration? It is deploying certificates to endpoint devices. Anne is an IS manager for several new systems in which the classification of the system's data are being decided. She is trying to determine the sensitivity level of the data being processed. Which of the following people should she consult to determine the data classification? And it's me, the owner. Why would you consult anybody else? You got to consult the owner of that data. A system administrator wants to generate a self-signed certificate for an internal website. Which of the following steps should the system administrator complete prior to installing the certificate on the server? It is D. Provide the private key to the internal CA. Alright guys, I'm going to get out of this video. Please stay tuned for the next video. Catch you all on the flip side. Deuces!